Women can be mediocre too, guys.
But that's good. I don't think women should be having random drunk sex with mediocre randos. Like I don't think that's good. I think it's healthy for society.
Maybe if we had some kind of...
Why do you all care? Why do you care about people's personal sex lives? Why is this always about what people do in the privacy of their own homes? Stay the f*** out of their bedrooms, you weirdos.
Saying is, calm down, liberals. No one's coming for your abortions. We just want common sense abortion control, a 1-year waiting period. You know the meme. Because you really had this coming, right? You genuinely had this coming. I've got no sympathy whatsoever. And I'm glad that you're losing this ability on demand, especially just given how gross the left has been on the concept.
What is going on here?
Of abortion, this idea that it's like, oh, well, you know, it's a woman's right to choose. What, up until the point of birth? Yeah, past birth. What are you talking about? So, right, you're actually disgusting and you are totally untrustworthy people. But anyway, before we go on, if you'd like to support us, you can go to lowcities.com.
Sorry, what? Just women? Just broadly speaking, all women? Like, every woman, you're disgusting, untrustworthy people, and shame on you? I guess Count Dankula kind of had the same sentiment. He was just tweeting out, like, you know, close your legs. Close your legs. That's my thoughts on this.
And check out Harry's latest article on it. And there are some really fascinating statistics on this. So according to the Guttmacher Institute, 930,000 estimated abortions in the United States in 2020, right? And so this is a really large number, really, really large number. Nearly a million abortions a year. And that's been going on for over 50 years. So that's interesting. In 2019, approximately 19% of US pregnancies ended in abortion. 1 in 5 babies conceived in the United States were aborted.
Wow.
That's staggering, isn't it?
It's stunning, and it's worse in the UK.
It is, and it's not evenly distributed either. For example, in 2018...
We always talk about how these people have like monstrously huge hypocritical beliefs. One of the wildest ones I found out recently was fucking Alex Jones. Alex Jones did a whole segment after the Roe v. Wade decision where he was just like super excited. Obviously, he said that, like, you know, the Satanists are losing, God has won. Finally, we're coming for you, Satan. All this kind of stuff, and then opens a segment talking about he's caused multiple abortions to happen and coerced women into having them. It's like, oh, you know, I lived a different life when I was younger, and I was very promiscuous. I had no trouble with the ladies, let me just say that. And, you know, I obviously resulted in a number of pregnancies, and then I had to tell them that, you know, we couldn't have the baby at the time, and then that resulted in a number of abortions. I was like, fuck you. Fuck you. You don't get to do that and then years later be like, oh, well, I'm born again. Can you not hear it in my voice? So, yeah, it's totally fine. Now I would like no one to have abortions. I don't want anyone to have access to what I had to use in order to have my life dramatically change at a time when I was not prepared to have a child.
31% of all pregnancies in New York City ended in abortion.
Yeah, he claimed he had so many his dad knew just by him asking for money. Like, what the fuck? That, like... I always say that this thing where it's like people don't use abortion as a form of birth control. You know, it's a last measure after the fact. But it sounds like Alex Jones was using it as a form of birth control.
Right. 1 in 3.
1 in 3 babies in New York were aborted.
Goodness.
That's mad, isn't it? Unsurprisingly, unmarried women accounted for 86% of all abortions.
I wonder why we have an aging population and a decline.
I wonder why all these women just close their little legs. What is going on here? Yeah, that's a great thing if people have safe access to that. They're not financially or mentally prepared to have a child. That child is going to be born into a situation where it is going to complicate matters further for the parents. They should have the ability to make that decision for themselves. Also, by the way, Sargon, did you know that almost 33% of pregnancies end in miscarriage? So I suppose the biggest abortionist of all happens to be the Lord your God.
Birth rate. God, it's just a mystery, isn't it?
And real problems forming relationships. Among married women, only 4% of pregnancies in 2019 ended in abortion. Among unmarried women, it was 28%. So almost 1 in 3 unmarried women getting those abortions.
Wow. Almost seems like when people are in committed relationships and they have the finances to get married, because it's extremely expensive to do that, and then they've tied the knot. Afterwards, they want to have children, and they can do that. I mean, I still say, if that stat is true, those 4% of people who need those abortions should still have access to it.
Women in their 20s accounted for the majority of abortions in 2019 and had the highest abortion rates. So that means that it's 20-something single liberal women getting all the abortions because they're being irresponsible whores.
And what of the men, Sargon? What of the sperm donators? Are they also irresponsible whores? Are you going to come down on them at all, or is that's just boys being boys? Know what I'm saying? Yeah, well, I mean, they're just they're just sowing their oats, and if they're going to ejaculate in a woman, well, I mean, it was her job not to accept the semen, and once she has, I mean, the deal has been cast. Yes, she's rolled the dice on that one. Whores,
aren't they? According to the statistics. Because, I mean, they'll always say, well, what about a teenage girl, a young teenage girl? Well, it turns out that adolescents under 15 years old are 0.2% of all abortions.
This is the thing, right? If this were being imposed on them externally, then this would be described as a eugenics thing.
Yes.
All about the placement of agency. But when you place the agency on the people themselves, it's just a social movement. It's just a thing.
Yes, it's a total lack of responsibility
That's not what eugenics is.
for liberal women, white liberal women a lot of the time. But anyway, so it's mostly not. It's a very, very tiny number of young girls getting abortions. So that's not the main problem.
Gentlemen, I see the cause of the problem for both of you, and I think I've found the solution. Cut off your fucking dicks. Yeah, just cut off your dicks. If this is a deep and concerning problem for you, if this is just causing unfathomable horrors and atrocities, then cut off your penises.
And among white women, and this is another thing I found interesting, 10% of the pregnancies ended in abortion, whereas among black women it was 28%.
Again, if this were externally imposed, you would describe this as a eugenics program.
Margaret Sanger did describe it as a eugenics program.
Gosh.
Oh, yes, wonderful. Yes, oh, yes, this is definitely eugenics. You see, the people having the abortions, they have no say in if they give an abortion, even though it says that they're choosing to give the abortions. See, they are choosing and deciding to give the abortions, while at the same time, they have no agency in this one. Hence, eugenics, because that's the only way this strange description of eugenics would make sense. But I digress.
Founder of Planned Parenthood, who specifically wanted to try and reduce the population of black people in the United States. Well, she must be cheering from hell at the moment. But anyway, so we've got few states actually give the complete data as to why the abortions happen, but Florida actually does. So they say the state of Florida records a reason for every abortion that occurs within its borders. And so in 2020, there were nearly...
So they're quoting Maggie Sanger and referring to her as someone who actually spoke out about this, and someone who spoke out, I suppose, about eugenics. So what's her views on this? After World War I, Sanger increasingly appealed to the societal need to limit births by those least able to afford children. The affluent and educated already limited their birth bearing, while the poor and uneducated lacked the access to contraception and information about birth control. Here she found an area of overlap with eugenicists. She believed that they sought to assist the race towards the elimination of the unfit. She distinguished herself from other eugenicists by writing, "Eugenicists simply imply or insist that a woman's first duty is to the state. We contend that her duty is to herself is her duty to the state. We maintain that a woman possessing an adequate knowledge of her reproductive function is the best judge of the time and conditions under which the child should be brought into the world. We further maintain that it is her right, regardless of all other considerations, to determine whether she shall bear children or not, or how many children she shall bear if she chooses to become a mother." Sanger was a proponent of negative eugenics, which aimed to improve human hereditary traits through social intervention by reducing the reproduction of those who were considered unfit. Sanger's view of eugenics was influenced by Havelock Ellis and other British eugenicists, including H.G. Wells, for whom she had a close, lasting friendship. She did not speak specifically to the idea of race or ethnicity being determining factors, although Sanger articulated birth control in terms of racial betterment. Like most old stock Americans, supported restricted immigration. She always defined fitness and individual racial rather than racial terms. So, quoting a eugenicist, call out eugenicists. Classic.
75,000 abortions in Florida. And this is the table. 0.01% of them were from an incestuous relationship. Because again, you always say, oh, what about for cases of rape and incest? Well, they're really marginal. 0.15% was because the woman was raped. So we're not even 0.16% of the rate of the abortions so far, right? And 0.2% is that women's life is endangered by the pregnancy. So less than 1% of abortions, less than 0.5%, 0.25% of abortions are because a woman's life is in danger. That's really interesting. 0.98% is there was some serious fetal abnormality. So again,
I don't care. I don't care if it's 0%. They should have the ability to make that decision. It's just very cut and dry. Like, I don't care about all these externalities that always get brought up when it's always just like, well, you know what? We're going to make exceptions for rape. We're going to make exceptions for incest. It's like, okay, fucking ghoulish, inhuman monsters. You want to make exceptions for when someone is forcibly impregnated against their will? Wow, very generous of you. How nice. What a treat. How novel. Yeah, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. They should have a right to have an abortion if they seek it. Period. There's nothing else to it. I don't care about the statistics. I don't care about you pulling in weird eugenicists to try and defend how this is eugenics. Like, none of it. Just skip ahead to the celibacy part.
And have the possibility register at the right statistical prominence. And you'd have to roll like 12 ones.
Yes, it's so unlikely. But anyway, so then
12 is no exaggeration, but you get the point.
Well, no, you would have to roll. I mean, it's
combinatorics.
It's fewer than 1 in 10. You know. Anyway, so anyway, this I think reflects really interestingly on the corporations who are suddenly like, well, if you don't have access to abortion, we'll literally pay for it. Google offering to relocate anyone who wants to move from a state.
That was a good transition. Yeah. At first I was excited about that because I was like, oh, that's actually a pretty good stance. A rare, corporations taking a stance on this. And then someone else was like, most likely that's because they don't want to pay for paternity leave. And then I was like, it's always about the dollars and cents and the dollars and cents and the pounds and pounds.
Affected by the Roe v. Wade decision. Because they don't want to pay for your maternity leave.
Yeah.
Like, they view you not as a human being with a life plan who might have a family.
But again, see, the difference being, even if we're both calling out the exact same thing, I still think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing if companies are going to offer people the ability to have an abortion and be able to help them in any way, shape, or form. I mean, it would be nice if they offered them just a host of other things. It would be nice if they offered them both maternity and paternity leave. It would be nice if they offered them, full medical care, full dental care, full psychiatric care if you need it, all that kind of stuff.
They view you as literally just a drone, a worker drone.
That's rich. Okay, coming from the two people whose worldview is that women are basically insemination tubes for them to fertilize and then, hopefully, should they survive the pregnancy, serve them in servitude for the rest of their lives. And all conservative men, by the way. Remember when we were watching that video that had like Michael Knowles, Ben Shapiro, who else? Michael Tracy, and they were like, okay, let's have a fun little game where we ask each one of you who here would decide whether to do dishes or the laundry if given the choice, and every single one of them were like, dishes, and all their wives were like, yeah, he doesn't know how to do laundry. No, he has no idea how to do laundry. I know he doesn't know how to do laundry because when I went out of town for 2 weeks, he didn't do any laundry. And I was like, you fucking men babies, all of you. These are the fucking alphas, these men babies who don't know how to wash their own assholes. Clean yourselves. Wash your penises.
And they go to like Dick's Sporting Goods, which I thought was brilliant because they actually put a financial number on it. Like an actual, if you can go to the next one, John, they were like, oh yeah, we'll give you 4,000.
None of them knew how to do laundry. Ben Shapiro, Michael Knowles, Michael Tracy all confessed on camera that none of them know how to do their own laundry. These are 40-year-old men.
$1,000 in travel expenses to get an abortion. So we actually have the number. $4,000 they're prepared to. I mean, that's going to cost them millions. In total. Like, but when they're like, oh, can we have a cost of living raise? No, but you can go get an abortion.
Yeah, that's what they're spending their money on, right?
Yeah, like they've got no money for improved minimum wage or anything like that. But suddenly the
fuck off. You are so inconsistent. You can't on one hand be this like ardent capitalist who's always standing up for the rights of corporations and being like, these are just the job creators. They have the right to be able to exploit you in every way, shape, or form. And now suddenly be like, oh my, but my pearls, you see, they must be clutched. Oh, but these corporations don't care about you. They only have interests of themselves at hand. And it's like, well, yeah, motherfucker, we know that. Yeah, you don't get to switch. You don't get to do this when all of a sudden it benefits you.
Rummage behind the sofa and we find loads of money for the abortions. There's a lot of alarmism about travel.
Being pregnant has made me even more pro-choice. In what way, Fair and Wolf?
Travel restrictions being
congrats, by the
imposed,
way.
though. This isn't going to happen. This is bollocks.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to swear, but this is just absolute BS. This article, this entire article, doesn't reflect the title on this at all. So if you've seen this going around, and I've seen this being posted a bunch of places, it's nonsense. Obviously, people have a right to travel between states. And they have to follow the laws of each state as they are written. So if you smoke weed in California, they can't arrest you in Texas. Shock and surprise, right? And so no, this is nonsense. But of course they're trying to stoke up hysteria. So what?
No, it's not nonsense. There are states that are trying to pass out-of-state laws, and that you can still be fined within your state if you go out of state to get abortions. That's not nonsense. I'm just assuming you didn't read the article.
And motor skills of a 1-year-old. And I know what that means financially, emotionally, physically for a family. And I know not all families can do it. And I have a step-granddaughter who was born with Down syndrome. And you know what? It is very difficult in Florida to get services. It is not as easy as it sounds on paper. And I've got another step-grandson who is very autistic, who has autism, and it is incredible. And their mothers and people who are in that society, who are in that community, will tell you that they've considered suicide.
Is this the first time that they're suddenly going to be like, well, I mean, I suppose we should be providing these necessary services. Why are these? Also, what the fuck is with googly eyes? God damn it. Do you have perpetual fucking creepy stare? Look at this. Like... What are you doing, motherfucker? This is gonna haunt my dreams. Look at this fucking dude. Oh, Sargon, you know how to pick him. You've got like a cavalcade of just the weirdest fucking British men who appear on the show to talk about how they know the rights of women and what women should do with their bodies. Astounding.
Because that's how difficult it is to get help, because that's how lonely they feel, because they can't get other jobs, because they have financial issues, because the care that they're able to give their other children suffers. And so why can I be Catholic and still think this is a wrong decision? Because I'm American.
An American eugenicist who thinks that disabled...
That was the takeaway from this, as you promoted an actual eugenicist. That was the start of this whole segment. You promoted a eugenicist. Oh, fuck.
People, Down syndrome people, and autistic people.
That's not what she was saying. She was saying that as someone who has had children that have a variety of medical needs, there isn't a very good support system for them. Maybe we should have more support for people who have those kind of needs. Maybe there should be things like, I don't know, Medicare for all, so that everyone's needs are taken care of. It's the richest country in the world. They have the money. They spend more money on their fucking healthcare system than all the other countries.
But they'd probably be better off aborted.
Mad.
That's awful. That's an awful, awful perspective. I mean, if you're a Catholic, I don't see how you can hold that opinion.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, I don't work for CNN. But anyway, we've got some good news, because when this opinion was leaked, there were loads of women posting on TikTok, well, hookup culture's over. It's like, okay.
I doubt that.
Well, A, I doubt it. You'll still live in California. But B, good? You know, what good was hookup culture? Who was hookup culture good for? Like,
People
sorry,
who want
this
to
is
hook up.
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, you can't be talking about the statistics of how we live in like the most sexless generation ever. It's like you'll make other shows about how like young men are no longer having sex. Yes, we live in a sexist generation. Shouldn't you be like, well, tally ho, this is exactly what I've wanted all along.
That's literally the hoes and chads. Okay, good. Screw them. I'm a normal person. You know, I don't think this is good for anyone. And this is one of the reasons why things in the West are going so badly, right?
Yeah, I'm neither too. And if people want to hook up, and just be safe about it. That's all I got to say. You know, if you're going to have sex with multiple partners, wear a condom. That's basically the advice for that.
So let's just take some quotes.
I mean, I guess if, like, you know, you're a right-winger and sex is mostly seen as something that is supposed to be shameful and unpleasant, I guess this checks out. Like, I personally love sex. I think it's awesome. I don't know. Sex feels good. I'm guessing people enjoy it. That's probably why.
In case you're a man who doesn't care about the Roe v. Wade, just know that if abortion gets banned, hookup culture will be absolutely decimated, says Money Mollusk. Oh no. What women would have mediocre sex with a drunk rando if he could potentially father their child?
Maybe a mediocre rando woman. I don't know.
But
Because women can be mediocre too, guys.
but that's good. I don't think women should be having random drunk sex with mediocre randos. Well, I don't think that's good. I think it's healthy
do
for
you
society.
care?
Maybe if we had some kind of...
Why do you all care? Why do you care about people's personal sex lives? Why is this always about what people do in the privacy of their own homes? Stay the fuck out of the bedrooms, you fucking weirdos.
social organization where they actually like pair bonded and lived happily together.
We'll get to that because they asked the
looked after
question.
them.
Yeah. Oh my God, I'm entering my celibacy era. Thank God.
Thank God.
Yes. I'm deleting all dating apps as we speak. Well, that's a big reveal, isn't it? What did you use those dating apps for? It wasn't dating to find a partner. No, it was for hookups. Okay. Since 75% of men
God, these two are so hard to get through. I'm going to 125 it.
only care about sex and money, I hope they know this Roe vs. Wade decision will destroy hookup culture and leave them paying 18 years of child support.
I'd like to see the scientific study she cites there for that percentage.
Yep.
I'd like to see
But
any
of course,
scientific
in response
study
to this,
from
we
either
have
of you
women going
ever,
on sex strike,
ever.
which, brilliant. Don't care.
Like
I'm
every
married.
single time we watch one of these, I'm like, okay, so what did you put links to your sources in the thing? No, just links to all your socials and places to find you. Yeah. What a surprise. Shocker.
You know, like it's not my problem at all. So you've got, again, just lots of women on Twitter basically saying, "Oh, we need a
They're
sex
also
strike."
kind of doing you a favor.
This is why it's such an uphill battle for fucking the left and bread tube or left tube or whatever you want to call it. It's just like it's nonstop source citing. It's just like bum 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 bum. Here's all the receipts. Here's the receipts with the time codes where I make a statement and why I back the statement up with the study. Here's the study if you want to go click on the study. It's like, oh God, am I supposed to read all this? No. Oh, poor peacock.
Because, well, you don't have to work out that they're crazy yourself. They're doing it for you.
Also, if we can go to the next one, John. Yeah, I mean, like leftist women in New York, like
Oh, God.
women are like, yeah, I'm going on a sex strike. So yeah, good.
It's funny because there's blue hair and it's an SJW and look, they've got the communist symbol and then, the peace sign and I guess Band-Aids from shooting up because they're also an addict and that's also hilarious.
That last 5 minutes.
Yeah. And so the question is being asked, well, okay, men who you wanted all of that easy sex. What are you going to do now to support women and babies? It's like, well, I think the Christians might have some answers. Like something about marriage, something about, rearing a child together.
Responsibility.
Yeah. And no, but the answer, of course, is big government.
Wait, what?
Of course the answer is big government.
Oh, no.
Why did you think it wouldn't be? First, we need to question things like child tax credit. The issue must be resolved in a way that provides women who might previously sought abortions reliable support to raise their children. How about you look at your husband? Go and talk to your husband about it. If you don't have a husband, go and get one. Maybe don't have unprotected sex.
So don't date, don't use apps, don't hook up. Just get out there somehow and find yourself a husband. Just do it. Ladies, why are you spending so much time shopping? I've heard you be shopping. Why are you shopping? Get out there and get a husband. Land yourselves a husband. That's it.
The man until he's
It's so
ready to
easy.
commit to you.
Well, this is
in
one of the
marriage.
arguments which actually the economics seems to bear out quite strongly, which is that since the state became a replacement for the husband in terms of economic and financial security for women, you see a dramatic increase in divorces and downturn in marriage rates.
You do.
Resulting in most children being raised by two parents, one of them being their single mother and the other being the state.
Yes.
The state is a terrible parent.
Yes. And also, it means that people who have got nothing to do with your relationship, broken or not, have now got to pay for your child that you are being irresponsible with.
So there it is, right? That's basically the ethos summarized. Get out there and get married, have yourself a kid. Make sure that you are taking care of yourselves because goddamn, we don't want the state to help you out in any way, shape, or form. If you happen to come from, some kind of economic disparity, let's just say a different class than the rest of us, well, let's just hope it works out for you. Let's hope that you're able to survive in amongst everything you do because we're not going to help you, you filthy whores. We made that very clear. This is where we stand. Yes. As a addition to the Sargon Avengers, this individual is horrifyingly creepy, and shame on everyone who says this is Lance's evil, bizarro, right-wing version. How dare you? How dare you? Okay, I don't have googly eyes 24/7. I'm not like always broadcasting like this. Shame on all of you. I'm thoroughly revolted by you, chat.
Do you enjoy the Serfs but prefer not to have to use your eyeballs? Many are saying this.
Well, we've got the solution for you. It's the Serf Times in podcast form, available on most major podcasting networks now. If you enjoy it, please consider leaving a good review and feedback because it really helps the show out, apparently, and it's free, just like the podcast.
To our gods, Xander Corvus and Peyton L. Just, we are prepared to embark on a mighty jihad in your name. To our monarch, Tom Spiker, we are but your humble jesters, attempting in vain to get you to laugh. To our valiant knights of the Round Table, Benji Arnie, Tech Tink, Scary Earth Human, Tony, DM Rivera, Resident Scarecrow, Sir Nickus, Mayred, Cheryl Alvarez, Ruby Kelly, Brandon, Words Greenwood. It doesn't matter what I believe, it only matters what I can prove. Egbert Celine, Matthew Scarborough, Stellar Vision, Ariane McCarthy, Daniel Sutton, Coulter Smith, Jenna Tao, Quiet 185, Anna Loves Riley, Omni, Riley and Anna, Poodlehawk, The Tim Caucus, Multimondi, Trevbot, EXE, Brian Ephraim, Lemmy 101, Anthropophojak, Saren 42, Catherine, Ramon Acosta, Incosin, Agent NDN, Violent Orchard, Political Puppy, La Media Panza, Zach Christensen, Todd Buckingham, and Todd Lajeunesse. We raise our mugs and salute our brave heroes off to another glorious conquest.